Hell's Kitchen lies in flames, and the only way it's going to be saved is if friend and foe alike join forces. All this and more in the pages of Daredevil issue number 20. Let's hop on in together and find out what happens next, shall we? Alrighty then, so as the comic opens up, Ben Urich at the paper gets some very strange calls from elderly people throughout Hell's Kitchen about some sort of terror attack, but that's impossible. Nothing on the news is covering it. There's been no report from first responders or indeed other superheroes going down there, that is unless this is some highly developed media blackout perpetrated by the Stormwinds, which it naturally is. It would seem that they got bored waiting and biding their time to bleed Hell's Kitchen for everything it was worth before eventually buying up and developing the land, so instead they decided to go out of pocket to hire an army of supervillains to go in there and wreck up the place, removing people by force and also getting a little revenge on all the wealth that got redistributed by Daredevil and Elektra a couple issues back. Matt, of course, after multiple issues of not wearing the Daredevil costume, has finally come out the other end of his crisis of faith and as such is ready to do whatever it takes to save his home, but he's not going to have to do it alone, actually. Turns out the nun he was talking to all series long turns out to be Typhoid Mary, longtime supervillain and occasional love interest. Matt had no idea she was working at the church, but as we discover later, Kingpin actually did. Matt knows it's difficult to trust a former supervillain who suffers from so many split personalities, but it seems like Mary actually does want to do good in this situation and actually leads the Rhino away from the fight. With some time being bought for him, Matt decides to divide and conquer all the different supervillains in Hell's Kitchen and tries to take them out one by one, starting with Stiltman, obviously the weakest, even if he comes packing a brand new costume and a bunch of bombs. Matt does this minus a lot of his own Daredevil gear too, which is pretty impressive. Just when you think the heroes have the upper hand though, the Owl and his gang come crawling on in. Owlsley, of course, has been a chaotic force this whole series and is more than alright seeing Hell's Kitchen burnt to the ground just to prove a point, but you know who's not okay with that? The Kingpin, Wilson Fisk. Yeah, that's right, Mayor Wilson Fisk of New York actually pulls up his sleeves and gets his hands dirty taking the fight to the Owl himself, and in doing so he actually wins back the respect of the criminal contingent. You see, most of the workaday mook henchmen didn't want to work for Owlsley in the first place, and most of them either live or have family in Hell's Kitchen, and because of that, they're willing to fight alongside the Kingpin in protecting it. It would seem the pursuit of justice makes strange bedfellows, but if Matt's gonna take out Crossbones and his most hated foe Bullseye, he's gonna need even more help. Luckily, Foggy Nelson shows up with his batons. It seems that Foggy's done some real soul-searching too, and he says that some things are indeed bigger than Matt Murdock, and that his friend is Daredevil not so much because he wants to be, but because, well, no one else can be. With all of his guilt finally behind him, Matt is ready to wade into the oncoming onslaught to take out all the foes, and he does this in really awesome fashion. It's like something out of a Zatoichi movie. Again, too, Zdarsky does an excellent job tying this scene back to a bunch of Matt's earlier internal monologues, saying how when he lost his sight, it felt like God had taken something from him but given him the world, and that he felt God had abandoned him. But that now he truly feels something holy on his shoulder as he goes out to meet justice, and indeed he does just that. Matt uses his batons and Rhino's own force against him to wrestle him down to the ground, then he very adeptly reflects a few bullets from Crossbones. And Bullseye, being the big old coward that he is, ends up running away to survive and fight another day. And with that, Hell's Kitchen is saved, but it's clear that nothing is ever going to be the same again. Thanks to Urich, the media actually shows up and starts asking questions about what's going on. Fisk looks like the big damn hero here. But not to be shown up, Daredevil grabs the mic and drops a major bombshell. That is that he admits that he did kill someone accidentally in the line of duty as a superhero and that he wants to be held accountable, cause get this, Daredevil is turning himself into the authorities. And so that was Daredevil number 20, and I gotta say Chip Zdarsky does an amazing job pretty much writing one giant exclamation point for what we can now call the first act of his Daredevil epic. So many different stories end up coming full circle, and I think the image of Matt and one of his most hated foes, Kingpin, battling side by side to save Hell's Kitchen is gonna be one of those comic book images that lives forever. Matt turning himself in also opens up about a million different avenues they could go. After all, the rich and corrupt Stormwinds haven't actually actually been defeated yet, and you know they're going to take interest in the trial. Furthermore, we've seen other writers attempt to tackle a Daredevil on trial type of story. I mean, it makes a lot of sense. He's a servant of the law, but also a vigilante. What if that very same law turned against him? I wonder what Zdarsky will do differently because, well, his run has been predicated on doing so much differently. Overall, I think I'd feel comfortable giving this one a much-deserved 10 out of 10. This is what it's all about, people. This is why I read comics, for stories just like this one.
Hey there everyone, it's your pal Cape Joel again, and if you're seeing my face right now, that means you watched to the end of the video, and I'll always be grateful for that. Retention helps in this crazy YouTube game, and so does becoming a patron. If you head on down to the description, you can find a link to my Patreon page. Recently just redid all the tiers, a lot of cool stuff offering up there, exclusive commentaries, exclusive polls, behind-the-scenes concept art for Capes and Quest. That's the brand new D&D show I've started soon. Never been a better time to become a patron. You can become a patron for as little as $1 a month and help the channel grow and, you know, help me continue to deliver content like what you just saw. So I want to thank you all, and I will see you again next time. Bye-bye.